Triple Play Fantasy Baseball coming at you live tonight, as we always do every single Thursday night. Got quite a crew here. Of course, you know the guy that's right over to my right. It's my co-host and my lesser half here. That's the Doc, Eric Mendelson. How's it going?
I've been told I'm more handsome than you.
By that black girl that you were dancing with the other day?
No, by everyone besides your fiance.
Oh, that's a pretty bold statement to say. But that's enough time spent on you. I got to make sure that we get to our two special guests. And the two guys you see at the bottom, we welcome in some men who are smart, rugged, charming, and creators of joy. Both multi-site writers. One at Fantrax, SP streamer, Ninth Inning Know-It-All, and Roto Fanatic, where he's a proud father, smokes cigars, loves his socks, and is our principal. Another is a writer at Pitcherless, Prospects 365, and six-man rotation, where he has created the SPEX and QStat leaderboards, stands for all things Your Mean Mercedes, and almost as much as Bobby Abreu, and is a baseball is cool cat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our friends Mike Carter and Carlos Marcana. How's it going, guys?
All good. Oh my God. First than anything, love the intro, the one that Mike did for you, Mike Kirkland. It's so rad that I love it. Rad, it's awesome. That's what all the cool kids say, right? Rad. I have dope. Okay. I have to ask him. And I'm so happy to be here again. And you know that you are some of my favorite people on fantasy baseball, Twitter all around. So and live, to be honest. So thank you for having me tonight, and especially with such a great and awesome guy like Mike Carter, the doctor.
Jeez. Well, now that we've all said these nice things about me, I'm going to go, and you guys can go talk amongst yourselves, because it's not going to get any better. Not going to get any better than that for me. So thank you guys for having me. We were just talking about before the show started that the first time I ever was on a podcast was with you guys last year, and so it's really cool to come back and be considered somebody that you guys like. It's a good feeling.
Hey, I mean, that's putting it lightly. As we talked about pre-show, you guys definitely struck a chord. I know Cheesecake's not here. He'll be back, at some point in the future. But all three of us have talked, and, you guys all struck a chord with us. Just humble guys, really know your stuff. And we always enjoy engaging with you guys on Twitter. So it's always just to be able to have you both back on the show at the same time is just, it's awesome that you guys were both able to do it at the same time. And I'm looking forward to being able to dive into some stuff with you guys tonight and some important topics. And we got Coaching Itch checking in. We've got our buddy Toby, who does some of our graphics, checking in. We got Yancey checking in. Mike's dying to talk about some hitters.
Wow, Yancey made a comment that wasn't about me for once. I feel left out.
You probably have one, I'm sure. But before we get into everything, I do got to ask you guys, it's been a little bit since we talked to you guys, obviously over a session here. So I got to ask first, Mike, you're writing for 4 sites, right?
Yeah, technically, yeah.
So can you explain to us how you're balancing that out? Because I have trouble writing for 2 sites, let alone 4.
Well, the one thing that I will say that I'm really lucky about, well, 2 things, is that my family is really understanding and accepting of my hobby. And I always tell my wife it could be worse. I could be, a crack addict, like I was in the early 90s. No, I wasn't, but she's very supportive of it. And honestly, most of the writing that I do is done like on Friday and Saturday. Usually in the afternoon, I kind of get cranking, and I do a lot of like tinkering around during the week. Like for the stuff that I do for Fantrax, I start that usually like on Wednesday when I have an idea of like who's going to be starting next week, and then I just put it in there and then mess around with it like a puzzle. It takes a little while to do it, and it's cool. But really, my Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings are spent predominantly writing. And my family's really cool about that and understanding of it. During the week, we're so busy running around to practices and baseball practice and violin practice and everything like that. That's kind of my time. That's kind of my me time. Clearly, I don't exercise. So we know that that's what I'm doing, and they love for me doing it. And I have a hard time saying no. People ask me to do things, and I feel like it's a privilege. I mean, a year ago I wasn't writing anything except for 9 Inning Know It All and just doing pieces for them sporadically 4 or 5 times a year. And now I have like 4 pieces coming out, 3-4 pieces coming out a week, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna enjoy the ride while it lasts for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, again, writing for 4 sites isn't by accident. People want your baseball knowledge and your services, man. I mean, you're doing great work, and now you're on a bunch of pods, and you're one of the top guys in the industry, rivaling our other guy here, Carlos, who, since you were last came on here, you created a stat that I know I butchered how to say it when I introed it. So can you tell us a little bit? And you obviously got picked up by Pitcher List too, which is awesome, insanely awesome, and much
terrific.
You're
Absolutely.
doing great work for them. So can you tell us a little bit about the stat that you created? Because I know you've explained it before, but for those that haven't heard it before.
Sure. It's this like an index, kind of index. That's why it's the simple pitching estimation index, and it's just about trying to simplify a little bit the all. Oh yes, Doug, that's true. But I like Burns. Don't say that, man.
I knew that was coming at some point.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. So this index of sorts, it's just a way to try to simplify all these. We are so immersed of all kinds of stats everywhere, and that's cool because we have more information than ever, and all for that. I'm a numbers guy, but sometimes that can be a little bit too much, to be honest. So what I wanted was to take some of the best things that we have around and simplify and put it into one number that can give us a first step towards trying to estimate a pitcher's performance. And I had all the help in the world there in Pitcher List from the data team, which is amazing. I cannot stress enough how good they are on what they do, and it's a blast, man. It's being able to write about something I love so much.
And you do, again, both a great job at it, and it's been fun to watch you guys just continue to blow up. And again, it couldn't happen to better people. So I'm really happy to keep watching your guys' journeys as you guys keep growing. And you guys got 2 big fans, and 3, I know, speak for Cheesecake too, that will love watching it from the sideline, seeing you guys do your thing. But you guys got to help out our audience tonight, because we got a big dilemma right now. And that's why our main topic today is something that is very prevalent right now in fantasy baseball, and that's bullpens and bombs. So we've got guys that are streaking, hitting a bunch of home runs. We have no idea if they're going to continue it or not. And then we also have bullpens where we have no idea who's getting the save this night, who's getting moved to the 8th inning the next night. And some teams have 3 guys that we don't know which one is getting the save. So we need you guys to help break this down. Mike studies bullpens like the stock market. Carlos is a Yermin Mercedes stan and fancies himself a long ball, I know. So you guys are going to be flexing those muscles, but then, of course, the other subjects as well. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Let's talk about these. Let's start about the bullpens first. And there's 3 things we're going to talk about with bullpens. It's first, trying to clarify a crazy bullpen. We have no idea who the guy is, and you guys can kind of help fix that for us. A surprise closer in 2021, and their outlook for the rest of season if you think that they're going to continue to be good, or you should try to sell them while you can. And then a potential 8th inning guy that could step up and maybe you could try to bid on and fab before they get crazy expensive. So let's start first. Clarify a crazy bullpen. We have no idea who the guy is. Carlos, can you start us off right here?
So there are multiple options here.
Sure.
This year it's been so crazy regarding bullpens, and I think there is one bullpen that I think it's particularly crazy, which is the Baltimore bullpen. And it's double, difficult because they don't win very often. So it's twice as hard to make something out of it. Right now, I guess it's Paul Fry, the guy leading the bunch there. But I think it's going to end up going to Hunter Harvey at some point during the rest of the season, because I mean, he's the guy that they've always envisioned as their closer. He's got the raw stuff. He's their prototype. He's the prototype of a closer for any team, to be honest. Unfortunately, health has been a terrible issue for him, and right now it's a committee thing. They tried with Cesar Valdez. Unfortunately, you cannot only live from a changeup unless you're Devin Williams, and even him is struggling this year a little bit more than we thought he would. So in that crazy bullpen, I think they might end up with Hunter Herbie leading the save at some point.
Are you worried that when Hunter Harvey does come back, that they might still want Paul Fry there for, especially versus lefties? Right now in 2021 versus left-handers, he's got a 176 average against. Are you worried that they might play the matchups, or do you think it's firmly going to be Hunter Harvey's job?
I don't trust Paul Fry, to be honest. I think he will implode at some point. I might be wrong. Mike is the specialist there, but
you're right on.
I wouldn't trust any Baltimore relief pitcher, to be honest.
Well, that's a thing. Yeah, I know.
Kill your ratios.
They also have Tanner Scott, which is not bad at all. You know, he's a very capable guy. But I think they're going to keep using him in more, higher leverage situations when, situational things that it can be a better suit for him. So I think at the end, Hunter Herbie will be, who's already back from IL, I guess. I recall. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mike, let's go to you next, because I think that's a good way to start with the Orioles. And for those if Hunter Harvey's a free agent in your league, keep an eye on that for when he's fully healthy and you think he can go ahead and grab that job. There's a question about Scott Barlow being from our guy Toby. Mike, I don't know if that's where you were going to go, or if you just want to comment on it for KC. Do you think he will be the guy in Kansas City?
It's an interesting question. One comment on what Carlos said, I think that needs to be made about Paul Fry is that I think he's probably a pretty good trade candidate, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if Harvey was the guy there. I've called that for a while, too. I totally agree with Carlos on that. It wouldn't surprise me if Fry or Scott had trade value, especially to a contender who needs a situational lefty. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Kansas City, good luck. I think the biggest problem in Kansas City, quite honestly, besides Mike Matheny, is that Greg Holland really doesn't fit any other role other than pitching the ninth inning. He's not a guy that you really want to bring in the sixth or the seventh inning to try to, keep your lead, right? He's just not that kind of guy. He just doesn't profile that way. And as Toby said, Barlow's got really good stuff. So does Stamont. They seem not really wanting to use Stamont since he came back. He had that knee injury, and maybe he's more hurt than what people think he is. But I think Barlow is a really good, intriguing candidate there. And if it's somebody that you are looking for saves from, there's a good chance that he might be able to get in there, considering that Holland gets hurt pretty frequently. And I don't think Kansas City really feels that they're in it. I know that they're on the periphery of it in the Central. I still think the White Sox are the best team in the Central. And by a
bias. They've
got they've got the best starting pitching and they got the best closer. So Barlow could really be a guy to sneak in under the waiver wire there. I just don't. Holland's got 5 saves, but they've used like 5 different guys to get saves. So I'm not real confident in that one. The other one that I was going to comment on was Cincinnati, which is a bit of a disaster right now, too, with Sims going down today and going to be out for at least a month, which probably means more like 6 weeks to 2 months. And now TJ Antone came back this week, and I know David Bell wants to use him in a multi-inning role, but he's probably going to be their closer now, I would think. They can't trust Amir Garrett. He wants to fight everybody. And Sean Doolittle couldn't get Jack Carter out right now, I don't think. So I think it'll be Antone.
Shout out to Jack Carter, whose team led him far and sounds like got robbed a little bit in their last game.
Yeah, it was a tough loss, no doubt. Still kind of we're all still kind of reeling from it. The umpire called the interference call wrong on the base paths and allowed the winning run to score when it should have been a dead ball. Unfortunately, I was the only adult there who knew what the rule was, and the umpire is a 14-year-old kid. I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be that guy,
Hey, don't hate on us umpires. We have a tough job, okay?
Absolutely. No. I tell the kids, I go, we are not arguing with umpires ever, never. So
It's a good message, even with the tough result there. Doc, did any one of yours get set? I'll let you chime in if you have a quick one you want to add, and then we'll move to the next one.
I'm going to stay in the AL Central, and I think it's with the Cleveland baseball team. I mean, we're still calling them Indians. So they didn't re-sign Brad Hand, and we all thought James Karinchak was going to be the guy. Now he's 8 out of 9 on the year, the 2.76 ERA and a 1.01 WHIP. But Emmanuel Clase leads the team with 11 saves. He was suspended all of last year for PEDs, a 0.88 ERA. But the pattern recently has been very frustrating. So for Clase, on June 15th, he had a save. On June 17th, he had a save. And then June 20th and the 21st, he got holds. James Karinchak, after Cal Quantrill got knocked out in the 4th inning, he then pitched in middle relief to get the win on the 16th. And then that same day that Clase was in the 8th inning, Karinchak pitched and got the save. Nick Whitgren isn't part of this.
Oh, that's a name. I remember Nick Whitgren.
Yeah, TBT. But
yeah,
I don't think there's a clear answer going forward. I think it's just going to be – it seems like whenever he declared someone was the closer, that's when they blew up. So he's just kind of keeping both in that ready situation. Like I said, Karinchak, 8 out of 9, Clase, 11 out of 12. So they've both been pretty productive.
The interesting thing about Karinchak is that when you really looked at the usage pattern, what was happening was that Francona was using him against lefties. And so if you got to a 9th inning situation, and Francona's as good as it gets, right? So he's looking 2 or 3 innings ahead of time before anybody else is and saying, okay, we get to the 9th and they got 2 lefties coming up. I'm going to go with Karinchak because lefties against Karinchak up until like 2 weeks ago were 2 for 50 against him with like 28, 29 strikeouts, something absurd. It was just like.
I was going to say, the thing I worry about Karinchak is, I mean, his nickname is Wild Thing, but that's really what he can be on the mound. He has 5 walks in his last 3 appearances. That's really where his 1.01 WHIP comes from, because not many pitchers or not many players are making contact with him, like Mike alluded to, especially lefties.
But he can have that, and he can run away with it because he will struck out this side after 2 walks or something like that.
That's so
right.
true.
I mean, he's only given up like 14 hits all year. I mean, people just don't hit him. The thing that's really interesting about that, though, is that I always come back to context matters, right? Like the Indians traded Corey Kluber to get Emmanuel Clase. There's a reason why they did that. Clase is really good. And so you really can't lose with either one of those guys. I mean, they're both going to get opportunities, but I think it'll be more like a 60-40 Clase to Karinchak split down the way.
I like it. Way to clear. I think you guys did a job clearing up some of those bullpen questions. Let's move to the next subject here. And one of them could be the cover boy in our bullpens involved. We're talking about surprising 2021 closers that kind of came out of nowhere. We're wondering what we should do rest of season, if we should ride it out or try to sell in case you think there's something in their peripherals that doesn't look good where they could bomb and get replaced. So Alex Reyes, Kendall Graveman, Mark Melanson, these are just a couple names out there that have kind of just blown up and taken the world by storm this year. So Mike, I'll go to you to start this one. Who's the closer you want to bring up that kind of just came to relevance in 2021?
I have to apologize to Matt Barnes because I've trashed him for years and never thought he was any good and was a guy that I never really wanted to have. And he's been terrific this year. And I do think from looking at the peripherals every week, like I do, and at least in my understanding of the peripherals, I really think he can keep it up. If he controls the walk, I've really been really surprised by was Ian Kennedy. The guy was a non-roster invitee, minor league contract, and he's been a closer for Texas, and Texas is going to flip him and get something for him. I don't see him closing on a contending team, but I think he could be a good 7th or 8th inning guy for somebody who needs relief help like my White Sox.
So that's actually really perfect. So that's an example of somebody that you think, hey, if you have Ian Kennedy and you're in a league that trades, hey, if someone needs saves, try to get rid of him now before he gets traded to a contender and then he's an 8th or 7th inning guy on a contender like you said. I think that's a perfect and reasonable guess to make in this situation because the Rangers have nothing to play for. So
that's the first time I've been told I was reasonable today, David. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for. Doc, let's go to you next. Who's somebody, and I don't know if any of you guys had this guy, Michael Fulmer, in there, you can go ahead and take the floor if that was your guys. Toby's connected into the baseball stuff in our Slack chat. He's as engaged as anybody.
So you already mentioned my guy, David. It's Mark Melanson. I drafted Emilio Pagan in a lot of leagues. I think Drew Pomeranz, we all thought had a chance to contend. I mean, Melanson is 22 out of 25 this year. And you look at what he's done compared to last year, and a lot of the metrics are the same. He's throwing his cutter as his main pitch about 60% of the time. It's roughly the same speed. Last year, it had a 306 batting average. Against this year, it's 234. He hasn't thrown his split finger at all, which I think was interesting. Hitters were 0 for 4 against it last year. His curveball is roughly the same. What's interesting is his walk percentage is a career high, and his K percentage is down from his career average. So he's closed 22 out of 25 games this year. That's 88%. He's closed about 83.5% for his career, but he's also 36 years old. So his ERA right now is 1.97. His expected ERA is 3.43. He could be a sell-high candidate. I don't think he keeps the success up the entire season. But once again, he has 25 opportunities, so that's where I think the real value has really come in for him.
Yeah, I remember before the season started, everybody thought they knew the San Diego bullpen, and whether it was Drew Pomeranz or Emilio Pagan.
I was all in on Pagan.
Everybody thought they were like, I got the San Diego closer. I don't remember on any podcast hearing Mark Melanson. So it just shows you how much we really know. But Doc's telling you to try to sell high on Melanson if you can. I mean, again, he's one of the league leaders in saves. If he's not the league leader, I think
he is the league leader. Yeah,
he is yeah. So wise words from Doc. Let's go to Mr. Carlos over here, which is a guy that you want to talk about.
So this one will sound funny because it's an amazing picture, but honestly, did we think that Craig Kimbrell was going to have the season that he's having?
No.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, and it's funny because he's been an elite closer for as long as you can remember, you know, and but what he has done this year is just short of amazing. And honestly, the whole Cubs bullpen has been terrific. Ryan Tipper, all those guys has been, I mean, a big reason for the Cubs' resurgence in this season. So I think, and it's funny because we shouldn't be saying that Kimbrel is amazing. It's been amazing because he was amazing. But after last season, there was a lot of things to doubt about him. But he's been closing mouth, left and right, and I think he's going to continue doing it. The Cubs will be contending, I think so, and they are not going to sell these guys. They're going to roll with it, and the rest. I mean, the lucky guys that drafted him are smiling all the way to the bank, man. With Kimbrel.
You're 100% right. I did not think that Craig Kimbrel was going to bounce back this way. He looked toast, and he's really he's been one of the best closers in baseball this year. And think of the value. You were pretty much getting him almost for free, I felt like, in a lot of drafts because no one was buying into him. And Carlos is all in on buying him. So if someone's like, I'm waiting for it to fall off and you can get him for a little cheaper than his production, yeah, it sounds like a good buy to me.
You know what was interesting about Kimbrel though? Is that if you go back and look at his last, like, small sample size, obviously, but his month of September, he was lights out. And it really looked, obviously I'm in Chicago, so I get to see both teams quite a bit. And later, because that guy looks like he might be back, I mean, and things hadn't really changed from other than that he was just walking so many guys. And once he kind of figured that out, he kind of got back. And so I was drafting him. I'm like, okay, closer 2, right? But under the radar, like to me, he was like the 9th or 10th best guy on the board. And I took him in a lot of places, and it's been paying off for me so far.
I also think the Cubs are better than everybody thought they'd be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely helped. What are your thoughts, Mike, on the Tyler Rogers, Jake McGee debate? Both of them, it seems like we've seen mixes of guys coming in and out there. What are your thoughts?
The bullpen makes me feel dead inside.
Oh man, I have Tyler Rogers in my TGFBI, and I want to die every time I'm waiting for a save from that, because when I was expecting him, there comes Jake McGee, and I want to crush the television. And
the thing about San Francisco that's just so crazy is that I don't like to badmouth people too much, but I don't understand how Gabe Kapler keeps jobs, and they're winning with what he's doing. I mean, his bullpen management is absolute horseshit. And he
There you go, Mike. There you go.
He rode McGee into the ground. McGee became hurt and ineffective. Now he's back and he wants to use him like 3 innings at a time. It seems like, I never really bought into Tyler Rogers as a closer. I don't know that. I think he does an admirable job as a stopgap, but he's really not the guy. I wonder if they got somebody else kind of coming, like, Connor Menez or somebody like that who has looked pretty good in a small sample too. I don't know that they can get by with this long term. I mean, I would hope that they would be buyers based on what they're doing, and maybe they would go after somebody that that could help them out and close in games, because that situation is just ugly to me. They've gotten the job done, but it's really not pretty, Yeah,
and then there's something else, interesting thought by our friend Brian K, friend of the show. Good to check you see out in here. So he wants to ask you guys. The sticky stuff seems to be brought up with starters, but will relievers be affected? Injuries or inflated ERA and WHIP. So, Carlos or Mike, what do you guys think?
It's going to affect everyone, I think. I mean, everyone is using it, and now everyone is stopping using it. So, I mean, mayhem. It's unraveling in front of our eyes.
I like how all of a sudden pitchers are like criminals now. Like they're coming and checking them out.
You shouldn't be doing that in the middle of a season. That's stupid, to be honest. That's something that you have to.
It's so stupid.
To start, start fresh from the beginning, and everyone in line with it. I think once again, Mr. Manfred is killing us slowly.
What are you talking about? He's the best commissioner in all of sports.
Oh my God! Don't get me started.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Brian. We could get in a whole tangent about it, so I'll just bite my tongue and we'll move to the last question for bullpens. And this is a potential 8th inning guy that right now you could probably buy low on, and then you're going to ride those saves out for potentially the rest of the year, help you if you need some saves. So, Doc.
So hey, David. Hi.
You want to start us off with this?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with Blake Trinan, and I know that he had the loss yesterday, but before that, his last 5 appearances, he pitched scoreless outings. I'm going to use Mike Carter's line of context matters. They signed him to a 2-year, $17.5 million extension. I don't think that was to be the full-time setup guy. Kenley Jansen has a career-low K percentage and a career-high walk percentage. He's blown up in the past now. We do see a little bit of uptick in his cutter and sinker, but I think over the course of the season, the speed could go down on that. Blake Trinan has a higher K rate this year at 28% than he normally has for his career of 23.6. His walk percentage is down, and the numbers he has this year are similar to when he was the closer for the Athletics and he had 38 saves. So we know that's his ceiling. I think the Dodgers maybe save Kenley Jansen for the playoffs. We know that they have aspirations of repeating. So I feel like they could use Trinan a little more in the regular season, and he'll get some saves.
All right. Well, hold on. Wait a second. First, Nick Pivetta, 6 2/3 no-hit innings with 8 Ks today. He continues to be a wild card. Second, Doc, I do not agree with you. Bad Doc. Bad.
That's fine. Who's higher in TGFBI? Me.
Oh, this is the first time you've been able to say that all season. So
yeah, no, I've been doing it the last week, David.
I will say, though, if you look at Kenley Jansen, a 1.52 ERA, a 2.68 xERA, a 3.36 FIP, and a 4.71 xFIP. So obviously the xFIP doesn't look great. I mean, even though the strikeouts he's still averaging over a K per 9. Home run to fly ball rate is at 3.3%, which is the lowest it's been in his entire career, pretty much since his rookie season in 2010 when he only pitched 27 innings. I don't think he's too consistent and too good. He may falter some down the stretch, but I think with what he's already done this first half of the season, I don't see them taking him out of the closer's role. He hasn't done, to me, anything to warrant it. It's not like they haven't had a quick hook with him in the past. I don't expect them to have a quick hook now. So
you're wrong.
All right, we'll see how that plays out. Carlos, who's your guy?
Don't you love see brothers fight?
Yeah, I had
so
to
great.
Put him down.
You know what's funny? As much as David and I hate each other, we got matching tattoos in Atlantic City.
I don't care about seeing our matching tattoos.
Yeah, they do. The people that are tuning in want to see it. They want to see bad decisions we made.
Oh
there
my
you
God.
That's probably not even close to the worst decision you guys made last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
It
Oh,
was
yeah.
wild. Go ahead, Carlos. Who's the guy for you?
For the eighth inning that might be getting saved down the road.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was thinking Barlow at the beginning, but we've already talked about it. So I'll drop a crazy name here that might get some steam down the road if Ian Kennedy gets traded or gets hurt, which would not be weird. Joely Rodriguez might get some opportunity there in that bullpen, and I mean, if you see his ERA 5.91, that would make you run screaming. But his peripherals are a little bit better. His FIP is only 3.02. He's been pitching for ground balls a lot. He has a respectable 23-24% K percentage. His walks are a little bit down as of late. He hasn't been lights out, but he's been doing a consistent job over there. So that could be a name to consider if you are very desperate for saves in some of your leagues.
Okay, I like it. Let's switch gears. Let's go on to some hitters, and I will. Yeah, like Toby said, you could probably put any Rays pitcher here because they're an eighth inning guy one day, and
I was gonna throw out Pete Fairbanks as a guy to watch too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I totally forgot to go to you, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. No worries. I don't think it's rude at all. I think a guy that really could provide you some value is Jose Alvarado in Philadelphia. I mean, Hector Neris is hanging on by the skin of his teeth. He seems to always get the job done. Joe Girardi appears to be losing his mind, and so maybe he'll take Neris out of that role. But Alvarado's 5-0. He's got an ERA under 3. He's got 36 strikeouts and 26 2/3 innings, and he's gotten the opportunities on nights when Neris has needed a rest. And I think he's got 2 saves, maybe 3. I'm not sure. I haven't checked. But that's a guy right there that is high octane. The StatCast is blood red, exactly what you want in that closer role. We know that Girardi is not necessarily biased against having left-handed closers. So, that might be something that could come up and get you. The other guy that I think is a really good one to earmark is Giovanni Gallegos in St. Louis because the Cardinals are really riding Reyes a lot. And they said before the year started that they were going to try to limit him to between 90 and 100 innings. And I know he's not there yet, but with the way he walks guys, they might shut him down earlier than later. Now, I don't know that they'll shut him down for the year, obviously, and pull a Strasburg. But if they decide to rest him and manipulate the IL like a lot of teams are doing, Gallegos is a guy that would really step in there and get some save opportunities, I think.
He would have to be one of the. I feel like if you're in any type of fab league, if anything, any type of extended absence for Reyes, he would go for astronomical money because he's also shown he's been extremely
Julian Fairweather money.
Good one.
Another good comment. Dylan Floro hasn't been bad, but the Marlins are bad if Yimi is traded. I don't know if I haven't heard anything about Yimi being traded, but the next man up. I know Brandon Bass was a big guy, and I'm wondering if he would step in because he's been pretty good. Or Anthony Bass. I'm thinking of the basketball player, Brandon Bass. Anthony Bass.
Anthony Bass is not a closer.
He had a bad first
He's
two
awful.
starts.
He's bad.
His first two times of the year, but he's been really good ever since.
He's awful.
But let's start talking about some hitters. We got to get some bats mixed in here. We got a couple categories. We got a surprise home run hitter, and you can kind of tell us if you think rest of season they're going to be what they look like. Someone like I'm thinking of. I think he's mentioned pretty much every episode now. But why am I blanking on his name from the Rangers? Why am I totally blanking on his name?
Adolis?
Yeah, Adolis, thank you. Total brain fart. Adolis Garcia, someone like that, or an underperforming home run hitter that you would expect to bounce back and you could maybe buy low on because he's going to hit a barrage of bombs. Someone like Kyle Schwarber is doing right now. And again, that's the reason why he's on he's one of our cover boys for this one. So let's start with the first category. That's the surprise home run hitter and what you think they're going to do rest of season. Let's start back at the top with Carlos.
So I don't know if this is much of a surprise, but Tyler O'Neill, I mean, that kid is just raw power. I haven't seen such a good raw power profile in a while. Um, his dynamic hard hitting rate is on the roof. His hard hit rate is on the roof. He has a tremendous consistent batting path, which is really good for avoiding strikeouts. He will strike out a lot because he's still a power hitter. But I think we're gonna see at any moment, something crazy like Schwarber is doing these days. A week with 5, 6 homers from Tyler O'Neill, and he will end the year with a really nice amount of homers. Unfortunately, it's too late to get him anywhere has a respectable competition because everyone got it a while ago. But I mean, he's a guy that will surely display a great deal of power for the rest of the season.
I like that. And then there's actually two guys I want to ask you guys about as well. One person, sometimes the comments don't fully show. We have a Brian asking about Soler potentially, and then I also saw someone write in about Brandon Crawford. So
no, Brandon Crawford's mine. I'll touch that.
That's a perfect. Let's talk about Brandon Crawford, and then maybe Mike, before you go, you can talk about Soler, and then whoever you were going to bring up as well. So go ahead, Doc. Why don't you talk about Brandon Crawford?
So yeah, right now he has 16 home runs in 64 games. That's the second most he's had in a season. The most he had is his 21. He's on pace for 40. Right now, his barrel percentage is a career high at 17%. It's 6% for his career. He has 47.7 hard hit. It's 36.6 for his career. His launch angle is 14 degrees, and it's 10.8 for his career. He's 32 years old, so I don't think that he's just having a suddenly resurgent year. 29.6 of his hits are home runs. I think that is very unsustainable. He has 3 at Cincinnati, Great American Small Park, and he has 2 at Colorado. So he's already played in some of the more homer-friendly environments. I think that he drastically slows down, maybe finishes the year with like 27, 28, which would still be a career high for him, but not nearly at the pace he is now.
32 is the new 23. I don't know. Maybe he's just turning back the clocks and just letting them rip. I don't know. I mean, I think I've heard over-unders like for the rest of season being like around 11 or 12 for him. So I would,
right in that range then.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that he would be somebody I would think would finish with 40. Someone also just asked about Eugenio Suarez, and so he's another guy we could throw in this category as well. But Mike, why don't you talk about your guy, and then we got to address Jorge Soler.
Yeah, I the one guy that I've been sort of surprised by pleasantly is Marcus Semien. He's the guy that a couple of years ago was an MVP candidate. I think he had about 33 home runs for the A's, signed a really team-friendly deal to go with the Blue Jays, and he's hitting really well, or was anyway. I mean, his May was ridiculous. I mean, I think he hit like 368 in May with like 8 bombs. In June, he's hitting 229 with 5 home runs. The strikeouts have kind of ticked up a little bit, but that's kind of who he is, right? I mean, he's not going to probably hit for a high average. He probably will get around, if he continues to play and be healthy, he'll probably hit around 30 home runs, but he's been really a surprise. On the downside with the other question about Jorge Soler, that's another guy too, that something just looks off with him. I mean, I saw the Sox playing against Kansas City a couple of weeks ago, and his timing mechanism or something was just way off. I mean, and he didn't seem like he was that far away from being able to fix it. This is a guy that's got light tower power, right? I mean, when he hits it, it goes. The problem is he doesn't hit it enough, right? So I don't see any reason why Kansas City is not going to play him and continue to use him. So he'll have every opportunity, I think, to kind of bust out of that slump, and he probably will. Do I think he's going to hit 48 home runs this year? Obviously, no, with time wasting. But he might still be able to give you a second half power surge if you're looking for somebody that he's on the waiver. So it's a guy that you might be able to get cheaply and stash on your bench and pay you some dividends later down the road.
Yeah, I'm looking into him a little bit. I think one of the things to notice, he's a 239 BABIP, so you would expect that might normalize. I mean, he's striking out actually a lot less than last year. He's striking out closer to what he had in his breakout 2019, walking at the same clip. And again, I think it's one of those things. I heard people talk about that his launch angle isn't great with this baseball because it's not as much of a line drive and a little bit more of kind of like pop-ups. So he was really benefiting with the bouncy ball, and that those high fly balls were going out, and now they're kind of dying at the warning track. So I am going to be interested to see if that, if he does get the power back based off of what I've been hearing with that. But with the 239 BABIP, I would expect that to go up. The home run fly ball rate, I would expect that to go up as well. So he might be someone that's a great buy low as well. The hard hit percentage is right in line, again, within 0.5% of what he had the year in 2019. So he's still hitting the ball hard. Again, I'm not going to go out of my way to go make sure I pick him up, but yeah, I don't think a surge later on would be shocking for me.
He also chips in with steals too. I mean, he's got 9 or 10 steals, I think, as well. So it's a guy that you could use in a number of different options. So,
and you want to hear this? So I talked about the home run fly ball rate. His home run fly ball rate the last 3 years: 2019, 28.1%; 2020, 22.9%; this year, 8.8%. So, again, that's I think says a lot right there.
Is that good?
Weird downturn there, Jorge Soler, and maybe like Brian said, maybe playing in the outfield, messing with him or a little bit. I don't know, but great potential buy low guy for you. Or again, if he's probably a free agent, just keep an eye on him. Let's get to the last topic we're going to talk about in this segment, and that's going to be an underperforming home run hitter like Jorge Soler. So he kind of kicked this one off for us. So Brian, that was a great job leading us into this one. Mike, who's an underperforming home run hitter that you would expect them to bounce back in the second half?
Where is Anthony Rendon?
He disappeared on us.
Me.
I watched. I got to catch a little bit of that crazy Angels and Giants game. I think it was yesterday. The days all kind of blur together when you're my age, but that was pretty wild. He looks lost too. I think he's only got 4 home runs, and he's hitting like 230, 235 somewhere in there. And he just hasn't looked right. I mean, I guess some of that could be, that lineup has been really destroyed, and with Trout not being there, and now Justin Upton's leading off, and Fletcher's batting 9th. I mean, Joe Madden up to his old tricks, right? And maybe he's just a little bit off, but he's too good of a ball player to be this bad. I mean, I just don't think it's going to last.
No, I think it's a good way to start us off here. I mean, he's shown he's been a very consistent, great hitter for the last, 5 or 6 years now. So, I mean, I would expect that. I think that's a good call. And hopefully, I don't think there's too many leagues where people are cutting him, but definitely if you can maybe trade and get him while he's basically his value's completely not nearly what it should be, that's a great call there. Doc, what about you?
So I'm going with Eddie Rosario. This is a guy low, statistically low average, doesn't walk a lot, but has power and gets a lot of RBIs. 2017 to 2019, 27, 24, 32 home runs. He had 13 in 57 games last year, which would put him on base for 35. This year is 5 home runs in 68 games. The launch angle's down. The barrel percentage is down. The hard hit percentage is around the same. But what's interesting is his average exit velocity is the second highest of his career, and it's right around his career high. So I did a little bit more research, and I looked at the dimensions of the ballpark, and it's roughly similar. He's a lefty, so you figure he pulls the ball a little bit more. So at Target Field, in right center is 367. In right is 328. In Cleveland, right center is 375, and right field is 325. So it's roughly the same dimensions. Maybe because he's on a 1-year contract, he's thinking a little bit too much into it. But 5 home runs in 68 games would put him on base or on target for about 12, and I just don't see that happening. I think he could have a huge second half.
All right, I like it. Toby in the comments with Jonathan Scope. We liking Jonathan Scope to continue what he's doing.
Always cheap.
He is. He's somebody you can always count these hot stretches from too. Carlos, why don't you finish this out strong with this last segment here? Who can we expect a big second half from?
I'm putting my chips on Paul Goldschmidt.
Oh gosh, I hope so. I hope both your guys' second halves come out huge.
Yeah, I mean, he's not known because of his tremendous power, but he consistently put more than 35 a couple of years ago through 3 straight seasons, more than 35 homers. and he's been, really disappointing this year. He's batting 255 only, but his BABIP he is like 40 points under what he career BABIP is. So there's something there. He's batting the ball hard to his normal numbers, and Q likes him. The crazy little stat that I keep. He's actually in the top 30 in the league.
Wow.
So
Jeez.
yeah, he's hitting the ball hard. He's a very disciplined batter. We all know that he's a tremendous elite batter, and he's just have quite a deal of bad luck, and I think we will see a U-turn for him at any moment. He's a really great trade candidate if you can get him in some leagues that you can do trades. I think you cannot buy him lower than you can buy him now, and for the rest of the season, I would say he will not disappoint his own managers for what's left of 2021. I'll go with Goldie.
I think
That's a
Goldschmidt
great
usually
call.
has. I think he usually has good second halves historically too, so that's another good factor in his favor there. You guys remember Akil Padu?
Just picked him up, baby.
Talk of fantasy baseball. How quickly, such a long season, how quickly these guys.
You mean
everybody talks about him.
$300 fab Akil Badou? That one?
Who spent $300 a fab?
I mean, he was crazy.
Not in our league, Carlos.
No, not in our league, but I saw some leagues he went more than $200.
Woo!
Yeesh.
That's spicy.
The same people who were picking up Julian Merriweather for $350.
Yeah.
That's
All right, oh,
I have to tell you guys, this is super funny. I had a guy, I'm not used to this, right? So I get direct messages. I didn't even know what that meant like 6 months ago. So somebody messaged me directly on Twitter and was like, hey, I'm thinking about putting a large bid down on Merriweather. I said, I will bet you the money that you bid that Merriweather doesn't get another save this year.
wow,
And
that's
so far. So he wanted to put like a third of his fab budget down on Merriweather. I'm like, I wouldn't. I don't know if he did or he didn't. He doesn't.
That's why you have to ask the doctor,
yeah.
Well,
that's a great. I would have said I wouldn't spend that type of money on him, but I would have thought he would have gotten another save. That's a call.
Yeah.
That's
a
a
bold
prescription
move
right there that you filled and you wrote, and it's taken care of, man. That's
I hope he gets a save on the final day of the season.
Now, wouldn't that be a kick in the ass, right?
Yeah.
I lose $300 of my hard-earned teacher money by that. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, when you gamble, you got to dance with the devil, right?
No, Jack just doesn't play baseball next season.
Oh man, well, the fun's gonna keep going here as we get from the baseball analysis to the fun part of the show, starting with the game or the question of the week.
Oh, Seinfeld,
Oh my
baby.
God.
There you go. Our question of the week is sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight. We are an official affiliate to Monkey Knife Fight, the fastest growing sports betting site in the United States. Use promo code TRIPLEPLAY and get up to $50 of your deposit match when you become a new user and you use our code. And if you're looking to win some cash, make sure you follow the Triple Play Monkey Knife Fight shows every weekend. They give you about a 10 or 15 minute look at the gaming landscape with their locks to help you win big. Eric, when was the last time you guys did a show?
Probably like 3 weeks ago, but I'm homeless right now, so cut me some slack.
We gotta mention Tony Kemp. Make sure he gets a mention. He's been a hot hitter for sure. Gotta
He
mention
has
him.
been. Yeah.
Picked him up for $9, and that's right.
Nice.
He's an Oakland A's fan. I gotta make sure we get that in there.
Matt
Tony.
Olson all the way.
So our question this week: which MLB player, past or present, would have the meanest mugshot if they got arrested? So, Carlos, we're gonna start with you for this question. Who's the player you picked?
I'm going really old school, very, very old school, and Oakland old school with Rolly fingers, man. That mustache is just extremely. I know you kids don't know about those old dudes.
I know Raleigh Fingers.
Okay, I mean, I know I'm very old and I like that stuff, but Rolly,
I remember him very well, Carlos.
well, we are old school, Mike. We have to admit that.
Just old. Just old.
I love the handlebar mustache. There actually is the top picture on Google is a black and white one. So I almost feel like we could just use that as his mean mug.
This other Daniel mentioned the Oakland's pitcher. I think he's not pitching this year. He used to have that mustache too. So I don't
was
know.
gonna say he smiled though. He smiled though.
Yeah.
Daniel Megden, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
That's right. He did.
Not everyone can pull one of those mustache. So I think that would be
I could totally do it in like a month. If I didn't
do
this thing, I could totally do it.
Do it.
Mike, this is the only way you can come on for a third time.
I was gonna say, I'll come back on September 1st and I'll have a handlebar mustache. It'll be great.
Oh my God, I love it. We gotta throw Dontrell Willis in there too. That's a good call, too. I think his rookie year he didn't smile, if I remember his picture.
Well, Dontrell Willis is kind of a cheat code though, because Dontrell Willis does have a mugshot. If you look him up,
Does he really?
Yeah, I think several years ago he got caught. I don't think he was doing the Miguel Cabrera and like taking sips out of the bottle of scotch when he was on the Alligator Alley in Florida, but it was similar. I think he got a DUI, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
The Dontrell Willis made the top 50 athlete mugshots.
Oh, cool!
Wow, there we go.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I'll pull it up while you go, Mike. And
the Miguel Cabrera arrest was the best though, because he knew he was busted. He just opened up the bottle of scotch and started drinking in the car when he was waiting to get arrested.
I love it.
Yeah, no, my guy, I'm going old school, just like Carlos, and maybe older than Raleigh Fingers even. The Mad Hungarian Al Rabowski. He had facial hair like I've never seen facial hair, and I think he's an announcer for the Cardinals now, and he's got the Fu Manchu thing going, and it's all gray. He's still terrifying. Everybody says he's a really nice guy, but I had pictures of it on his baseball cards where his eyes were like bugged out, and he looked like he was like, I don't know, taking a bunch of speed or something like that. Maybe he was taking greenies back in the 70s. I don't know, but he'd have a terrifying mugshot.
That's so cool.
What about you, Doc? Who's your pick?
So I just looked at people's fantasy pictures, so I'm staying with current ones, and I'm going Nick Castellanos. He is not smiling at all, and we know he's ready to fight. So,
yeah, he's a good pick, actually. I don't think I've seen him smile in any pictures I've ever seen him in.
Jack just walked into the room. I'm trying to get him to come over and say hello.
Oh, I gotta say hi to Jack.
Come here, Jack. They want to say hi to you. Come here. Come here. Just real quick.
Had Dontrell Willis.
Oh, there's Dontrell.
Oh my God.
Say hello.
Why does he look like Lil Wayne in that photo?
I don't know. Right?
He really does. He really does. Come over.
The Mad Hungarian.
Here's Jack.
Hi.
Hey,
Jack, you're a legend.
Big
He
fan.
is a legend. I tell him all the time, but he doesn't believe me.
Yeah.
Big fan here, Jack.
Hey, show him your hat,
hat,
Carlos. Show him your hat.
Oh, for sure.
See, he's a big Ace fan.
Oh,
he's a big Jack Carter
yeah.
fan.
I'm a big fan of yours, man.
Jack, we're sorry you
Mike,
got robbed.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Mike, I wasn't gonna embarrass him, but I was gonna say I heard you have really bad farts.
Oh God, yeah, stink beyond belief. The best part is in the mornings now in summer. Oh, you hear what he said? He said, "You're one to talk, Dad." He says.
Oh, where do you think he gets it from?
Yeah, the smart ass comments. I wonder where, But I'm taking him to camp in the mornings before I go to work, and this morning I woke him up, and I honestly, from the farting, I thought he shit his pants before he got out of bed. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
He's a 10-year-old boy. He sounds like he's a 50-year-old man who just ate like 6 burritos at Taco Bell,
Oh God, can you imagine when he is 50?
Oh, I won't be here. You guys will have to check in on him for me.
Oh, that's fantastic. How do you transition from a Jack appearance to the game of the week? I don't know.
Oh, he's still there. I don't know if you can see him over my shoulder.
I can see he's in the bed.
He's in my
space.
space. He's in my space now, and I'm gonna get kicked to the couch tonight. Just watch, guaranteed.
Oh, I love it. All right, without further ado, it's time. Let's get to the game of the week. All right. Oh, I'll throw you Fernando Rodney. Toby's on fire with some of these calls tonight.
Yes, he is.
I love it. So our game this week, try to differentiate as much as we can on games. So sometimes I have to get inspiration from other people or credit them if they come up with a game and I just use it for this. So I'm crediting shout out to JK Trivia on YouTube for this game. They put it together. I'm just going to use it for today's purposes because we've never done this game before. And what it's called is which logo is correct. So I'm going to give you, or JK Trivia is going to give you 2 logos. Obviously, they're all MLB logos. And you got to tell us which one is the correct one of the 2. Okay. Bonus point if you guys can tell me what part of it is incorrect.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So maximum of 2 points for each one. I'm not going to give you too much time, probably like 10 or 15 seconds, 20 seconds maybe. And I got 10 of them. Or JK's got 10 of them. So you guys ready to go?
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right. I'm disconnecting the soundboard and I'm engaging the YouTube board.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
I don't even know what that means.
I'm just sharing the YouTube screen, but it sounded cooler. Okay. You guys can all see it?
Yes.
All right. So I would have a pen and paper or something you can make a note on. And you guys got to keep track.
Do we go on turn? Do we go on turns or the first one that guesses? How
so I'm gonna that's a good question. So what I'll have you guys do is I'm gonna have you guys just take turns. So Eric will start out, then Mike, and then Carlos. Next one, Mike will start out, then Carlos, then Eric, and so on.
All right, sounds good.
Here we go. 10 of them, starting out with the easy ones. Got Boston Red Sox. Which one is the correct one? I'm going to pause it before it gives you the answer. All right. Doc, Doc, you lead off. Which one is the correct Red Sox logo?
Wow, this is already level 1 and I already feel bad.
I'm
I'm going to say the right one is the correct logo and the left one, I don't know. The socks don't match.
Okay. Mike?
I think it's the one on the left because of the white back footprints there.
You think that one's the correct one?
I think that's the right one.
And Carlos, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll go with the left one too. The one on the right, they're different. The socks, yeah.
Well, I'm first going to say, this is, if you're listening to the podcast, every episode's on YouTube. This is a good benefit to listen to the games of the week on YouTube so you can play along with us. And Mike, you hit the nail on the head. The correct one is the left one because of this little white box right here. So Carlos and Mike both have 2. All right. Second one. This one's a little
This is
easier.
really easy. Just give us all 2 points.
Okay, so Mike, you lead it off. Which one is it?
It's the one on the right because the N looks like something I would look at on my reading test for my kids at school. So,
Carlos and Eric, you guys are writing that as well?
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
How is
you
that
guys
not
all-
number 1?
It's still in the easy category. But yes, the N on the left is a little misshapen there. So 4-2. Now we have the Texas Rangers. Which one is the correct one? And Carlos, we are leading off with you for this one. Which one do you think it is?
I'll take the right one because it has those stars there, but I'm not sure. But I'll take the right one. Yeah.
The right one is the correct one?
I think so.
Okay, so Carlos says the right because of the stars. Eric?
I'm going the right as well. Texas is the Lone Star State.
correct.
Mike, you as well?
Same here.
Okay, you guys all get 2 points. It is the right one because of the stars on there. So nice job identifying that, Carlos. It took me about a minute to find that. Okay, so level 2, we have 6-4. Starting out with the Orioles logo. Which one is the correct one? And we are starting back at the top with Doc. Which one do you think it is?
Gosh, I feel like I always get these tough ones to begin with. I'm going to say the one on the right is the correct one. The other one just has a fat lip.
Okay. Mike?
I think it's the one on the right because I think that O's on their hats does have the apostrophe, if I'm not mistaken.
So you think the one on the right is correct because of the hat?
Yes, I think so.
All right. And Carlos?
Yeah, that's it. The apostrophe on the O is missing on the left side.
So you
I'm
want the
going
O's on the right for the same reason?
Yep, totally.
The correct answer is the O's on the left because the hat is
Oh.
actually correct on the left.
Oh my God.
Okay.
But
Well,
you both each get a point because you identified what the thing was that was off. So you both have 7 and Eric has 4. Unfortunately, Eric, you couldn't ride the coattails that time.
Hey, man, I'm just getting the tough ones.
We are 4 in. Here's number 5, the St. Louis Cardinals. And Mike, you start this one off.
I think it's the one on the left because of the top of the bird's head.
Carlos?
I'll go with the right for the same reason, but I think the right one is the correct.
Okay. And Doc?
I'm going to go the left because of the same thing. I think the right is the old logo.
The correct answer is the left. Yes. So Doc and Mike both get 2 points. Carlos, you do get 1 point. So I
See,
believe
that's what I'm saying. Why do they always get the easy? How is this a medium one?
the score, I believe, is 9-8-6.
I just have a superior knowledge, Eric. That's all.
We found Mike's game.
No, you get the easy ones to lead off with.
All right. Colorado Rockies. Which one is it? And Carlos is leading this one off.
Oh my God, I'm lost.
Which one do you think it is?
I mean, they look exactly the same.
Yeah, actually the ball, the spinning on it. I think one is using spider tag, and the other.
That's fantastic.
Quote of the night, Carlos. There you
That
go.
is fantastic.
But I don't know which one is spinning right, so I'm just gonna say the right one.
The right one is the correct one. Eric, which one do you think it is?
I think it's the left and the baseball.
You think it's the left and the baseball. So Carlos is right. Doc is left.
Yeah, I
Mike?
think it's the left one too, just because of the way that the baseball is rotating there.
I'll tell you all have the correct reason. Which one's the right rotation? It is the right one.
Carlos, back in the game.
Oh, yeah. So I believe the score, Mike and Carlos, you both have 10. Eric, I believe you are now at 7.
Yep.
All right. We have, I'll double check. We have 4 more left.
Okay.
And going into this next one, we have the hard ones now.
Oh boy.
Oh, that means mine's going to be extremely hard.
The Minnesota Twins. Which one is it? And Doc, you are back up top.
All right. I'm going to go the left, and because of the way that the Twins is underlined with that little red weird shape thing.
Doc, Carter?
As much as this pains you to know, David, it's the one on the left, exactly for the reason that Doc said.
And Carlos?
I'll take. I want to say the right one, just to go.
He wants to be contrarian.
Yeah. I'll do that. I'll go with the right.
For the same reason?
Yeah, the underlying stuff.
The correct answer is the left. But you guys all had the right reason. So Doc Carter is 12. We have Carlos with 11. And Doc Mendelson, you have 9. So
All right. Picking different answers than Mike Carter.
12, 11 to 9. 3 left. We got the Marlins.
Ooh.
Oh, Jesus.
And I believe this one is
Mike
Doc.
Carter.
Yeah, Mike Carter.
I think it's the one on the right because of where the baseball is located in relation to the Marlin.
Okay. Carlos?
Yeah, it looks like the seams complete a baseball there. So I'll go with the right.
And Carlos is much smarter than I am. That wasn't what I saw at all.
What about you, Doc?
I want to say a different answer, but I think it is the one on the right.
Well, way to stick with what the consensus was. Right for this baseball being closer in. So 14.
How is this
14,
hard?
13, 11.
Yeah.
We've got 2 left. The Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Which reason is it? It's very small. Took me a couple minutes to find it. We are leading off with Carlos this time.
So it's something in the top of the bird, but I don't know which of the two is the right one. But I'm going with the left one. But it's like the feathers in the top of the head.
Okay. Eric?
I'm going with the one on the left because a little spike.
You talking about the hair?
Yeah, like the little thing coming out of the back. Like, I guess
Okay.
I can't point to. You'll see it.
Mike?
I think it's the left as well.
All right. The correct answer is the left for the same reason you guys mentioned. If you look on the right, there's a little extra wrinkle in its hair, and there's 3 of them here. So 16 to, I believe, 15 to 13.
13.
So, Doc, you cannot win. Carlos, you have a chance to take down Mike. I will say, this is the hardest one, this last one.
Okay.
And I had to look at the answers for how to find the difference in them. So if you guys find it without, then you're better than me. Eric, for fun, I'll let you play. Which is the right one?
It's the one on the left because it doesn't have the Statue of Liberty on the upper left logo.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that took me. I couldn't find it because I was like, what's different? But you guys are correct because of the Statue of Liberty.
How is that? I feel like the Red Sox one I got first was the hardest.
No, the Red Sox one I actually found right away. This one, I was like looking at this for 5 minutes. I was like, what's different? And then I was like, oh, okay, I see.
I don't know. I guess I'm just bad.
Well, Mike holds off Carlos Marcano. My soundboard is disconnected, so I can't give you the cheer. But Mike, you are the winner of the logo game. So nice job. We give you a round of applause.
I won the first time I was on too.
Are you 2-0?
Yeah, it was with the ballparks and ballpark lists and stuff like that, old ballpark names and stuff like that. Yeah. No, I'm still waiting for my ball hair trimmer that I thought I was getting in the mail. But
we're not with Manscaped anymore, so we have
no, I'm just joking. I'm sorry.
But I will say, if you win 3 times, next time you come on, 3 in a row might actually get you something from our show. Because I think, was Bubba 2-0, Eric? Was he 3-0?
He was 2-0, and I took him
no
down.
one's ever been 3-0 on this show. That's been a mark never achieved. So you are well on your way, my friend. But
lucky, just luck. That's awesome.
But with that being said, fellas, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the show tonight. It's always a blast for Doc and myself to talk with you guys. I want to give you guys a chance to be able to plug all the great stuff that you do. Carlos, if you want to start first.
Sure. First than anything, I mean, as we were talking before, my first time on a podcast was with you guys, and I was terrified, but I felt so well received, and it was so freaking awesome that it meant a lot to me, and I'll always thank you for that. And I'm just continuing, rambling on Twitter at CA Marcano whenever I can. I put some crazy stuff over there, and doing some work for Pitcher List and Prospects 365 and 6-man rotation. I hope I can finish the article that's supposed to go live tomorrow. So let's see.
Oh man, well, we definitely got to get you out of here to get that article done. We always appreciate you, Carlos, so much. Mike, what about you? What stuff? You got a bunch of stuff that you do as well.
Yeah, well, I'll just be really quick. I mean, I think people know where to find me on Twitter. I have the worst handle in the history of Twitter handles. I don't know why that is the way that it is, but my primary job is working at Roto Fanatic and doing the closing remarks piece I do for them every Sunday. I also am lucky enough to work for Michael Simeone at SP Streamer and do a streaming article for him on Sundays as well. I also work for 9 Inning Know-It-All, as you know, and write pieces for them, more narrative pieces about my experiences with baseball. And then I also do work for Fantrax. Now I'm doing their 2-start pitchers each week and learning how difficult that is. Many people have done that before me and done it better. I want to say thank you to you guys too. You guys are doing an amazing job. I love following what you guys are doing every week. Every podcast you guys do is high quality, very listenable, really good stuff. And I really want to shout out Carlos too, because I think Carlos might be one of the most unique people on the fantasy baseball Twitter stuff that he's doing. I'm a grinder, but he's really brilliant. And the stuff that he's doing is really pushing the game forward. I really enjoy interacting with him on a daily basis. And he's living in a really different situation than just about any of us. And I give him a shout out for that because he's just a great guy and has been a great supporter of mine and helping push my workout as well. So, Carlos, I thank you very much for your time and everything that you do for the community, too.
No, I'm the lucky one to know all of you guys, to be honest. I'm just blessed to have you all in my life.
Guys, stop. I'm gonna start crying.
I was about to say, you guys are making me cry.
It's okay, Doc. You got the bathroom right behind you. Go get a tissue. You're okay.
And you got your guys shouting out your handle too. Brian's a fan of yours as well. And again, Eric and I are fans of both you guys. I said it in the beginning, and not to ramble on too much, but we love everything that you guys do as well, and always have our support, whatever you guys are doing. So keep doing it because it pushes us, and I always learn stuff reading everything that you guys put out. So thank you so much for all the stuff that you guys do.
That's awesome.
For everybody that enjoys Triple Play, we appreciate how you consume it, whether it's the podcast, the YouTube, just through Twitter, anything you do to engage with us. We truly appreciate it. Next week, we've got the man from NBC Sports Edge and the Bases Loaded pod, George Montanez, coming on the show. Be his first time. So make sure you check it out. It should be a fun show. Until then, everyone be safe out there. Enjoy another week of baseball. And we're going to make like a bread truck and haul these buns. Catch you guys next week.